This is JCU Conversations, a podcast show from James Cook University, Singapore. Tune in as we ask experts in the industry more about their lives and their approach to success. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Let's listen to today's episode.
Good day all, my name is Thrash, Senior Manager of Student Careers under the Student Affairs Department of JCU Singapore campus. And our guest for this episode is Ms Natasha Syed, who is the founder and CEO of SkilledIn Green, a talent marketplace for green skills and careers in sustainability, where she champions her philosophy of every job is a green job. Natasha is also a passionate businesswoman, having pivoted from her traditional 9-to-5 career in banking and finance to entrepreneurship. There's so much she can share with us and so much for us to learn. So welcome, Natasha, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Michelle.
Well, let's kickstart this conversation with you sharing more about your career background and journey.
Thank you. So I started my education actually is in economics. I started my career with Accenture first. In the meantime, I also upskilled in finance. I saw this field at that time as very interesting and also increasing in interest. So after I upskilled with finance certifications, I started my career in first an international paper in different finance role and eventually in a bank, also as a cost accountant. At some point, even though I did enjoy what I was doing in finance field, I wanted to do more, and that's where I started my first company. It was a startup about mental health. We were actually a RISE registered social enterprise here in Singapore. A couple of years later, I started also the current company, which is around sustainability.
Yeah, that's a great start to your young career, venturing into an established consulting firm, going into the finance scene, and then coming out with ambition to being an entrepreneur. So you began your career in banking and finance and shifting into that entrepreneur space. Not many people actually dare to take that leap, and many would actually contemplate on such a move. So what made you realize that you were ready for this move?
Actually, I was not ready, and to be honest, I did want to be entrepreneur for a long time, but I was also one of those people that it's not time. First, I want to become CFO, right? Continue my finance career, but yes, sometimes all that we need is a little nudge from somebody else, and that's the nudge that I received to start my first company. Yes, it was scary. But would I do the same? I think I would definitely do the same again.
Fantastic. And you were speaking about being nudged to make that first step, right? Could you tell us a little bit more about your experience with that nudge? Was it from a friend, a family member, or what was some of the tips or advice given to you for that nudge?
It was from my husband. At that point of time, he was not yet my husband, so my fiancé. And, it was very simple. He said, you can always go back to your corporate career. You can always restate it, be the CFO, right? But if you have some idea now, you want to do something now, just do it. Well, I don't like him for that. But that was like a very simple advice. To be honest, it's hard to go back after you're an entrepreneur. So this is something that he lied to me. But still, I enjoyed the journey so far.
Yeah, well, thank you to that nudge. SkilledIn Green is now celebrating its 4th year anniversary, so congratulations on that. Tell us more about the good work that you do with SkilledIn Green.
So for SkilledIn Green, we focus on sustainability, but specifically on careers, right? So we are not talking about general awareness. There is plenty of information about that, and I think people don't need more education. They just need to go to correct sources. However, if we talk about professional sustainability, here there is still quite a significant gap that we observed on the job market, and it was like from the talent perspective. So companies cannot hire fast enough or good enough talent for them. And on the other hand is also from the skills perspective. So people who are skilled in sustainability or in related fields and want to transition into this area, right? Sometimes don't know where to go to upskill. So we provide all of this on our platform, plus peer-to-peer community, which also can serve as a learning point for people to exchange their experience globally.
Very interesting. And how has your team grown since then, since you started off your business, alone, single-handedly? Tell us a little bit more about how the growth of your organization.
It was actually very interesting and dynamic. So actually, we started with an outsourcing agency. We didn't have any employees of our own. Unfortunately, this didn't go well for our product. So slowly, we started with one person, and most of people that work with us currently are those who came through referral from other people working with us. And eventually now we have, we grew just this month, almost doubled our team in size. And now we have 8 people. Wow. Internationally distributed, we work remotely. And that is actually something that gives me a lot of energy to keep on doing my work, because our team is amazing. They are very dedicated. They keep on working. They love our users. They love the feedback. And I think that's the most exciting part about being an entrepreneur, having this kind of team.
I see. All right. Yes, indeed. Having a team that shares the same vision as you, and works hard and is committed to their work, importantly, are enjoying, the things that they do. So I'm really glad to hear you sharing that. And besides that, what do you enjoy most about the work that you do with SkilledIn Green?
So that's, again, the team. My team gives me motivation. Sometimes what they say, it's not true that when you're an entrepreneur, you are your own boss. Well, in a way, but you have so many things to do, right? And at some point, it becomes extremely tiring. So to keep on going, even if you have this purpose that you had to set up the company, this purpose becomes not enough, right? So that's where actually this motivation to keep on going comes from the team, right? And on the other hand, the other thing that also what I really like is seeing when people use our product, they like our product, and most importantly, they benefit from it. And I think this is the most rewarding. And again, this does not come from the beginning, right? There is some journey that is very challenging before this happens, but when it happens, it's very, very rewarding.
And talking about a team and new hires, staffing, what is your view on individuals starting work in a startup in comparison to other larger established organizations? What can they look forward to in terms of the learning, the experience, and so on?
I think it's a very great question, and I know a lot of young people, they actually prefer to start work in a larger organization because it's, of course, more prestigious, more stable, right? There is less risk. Startups are very risky. But on the other hand, it's also very often we start working in one career and then we figure out that it's something else that we like doing. So actually, startups can provide this kind of opportunity because everyone has to do more than there is no clearly defined role. There is always a bit more than the regular role responsibilities. So again, we are talking again about learning agility and ability to adapt, a bit of multitasking, right? A bit of multi-skilling. So it can sound like a lot, and it is. However, because of these learnings, people can try much, much faster, a lot more things than they would be able to do in bigger companies. And if I remember from my own experience, right, when I was starting, it was very constricted in terms of taking initiative, right, proposing something that is not within the rules and policies, right? Everything has to be approved, which sometimes lasts 7 months and it's not relevant anymore, right? So in startups, it's everything done yesterday, so to say, right? So very quickly you have to react, and of course it also gives you this place for creativity, right? So if people want to express themselves in work, in terms of what they do, how they do it, startups, it's definitely really, really great place to start, even just to test what career to choose.
Yeah, I think that's some interesting sharing right there. And if you were to go back in time, which one would you actually start your career in a startup or in a MNC?
Well, it's again a good question, because it depends what kind of startup, right? I think the learnings that I had in other companies are still very important, and I think the way I am entrepreneur now, it's also because of the things that I know what to avoid, right? From very strict settings, right? I know how I felt when I was restricted, and I'm trying not to do this with my team. Of course, we also have rules, right? But somehow it's very natural, right? There is this place for creativity. So, to be honest, I think if I go back in time, I would still repeat the same path that I took, not regretting anything so far.
Oh, that's nice. How do you envision the future of sustainability and related job opportunities over the next decade?
I think so. Currently, we see a bit of boom, I can say, in terms of interest in sustainability roles. From the talent, there is a lot of interest because people want to do something more meaningful, right? From employers, it's driven primarily because of regulations and requirements, right? And those are not going away. Those will only be developing, right? So again, like global warming is progressing, and we need to take more and more actions. And who can take actions or who can contribute the most? Those are actors, actually. Those are companies, right, that can optimize the emissions, sustainability, supply chains, right? So these companies need people, right? And there are so many things that can be optimized for sustainability. So coming back to your question, I think within 10 years, pretty much almost every job will have some elements of sustainability. Maybe it won't be fully new job, but every role will can contribute in a way to being more sustainable for entire company.
Right. So you're talking about the development of new roles specifically to answer sustainability, but more of an immersion of little tiny tasks or roles or responsibilities within existing workforce. Right, that's interesting. All right, so for those who are actually thinking about getting into entrepreneurship, what would you say are the top 3 qualities an individual must have?
So first of all, I think readiness to sacrifice a lot of things, right? So as I mentioned, entrepreneurship is not always roses, and actually I would say it's never roses unless we are talking about, the thorny part of them, right? So when one becomes an entrepreneur, especially in the very early stage, when there is a lot of things that one has to do by themselves, right? So we have to sacrifice our life or work-life balance, or pretty much life, right? We have to sacrifice time with our family, any hobbies, right? There is a lot of things that we have to do. So being aware of that, I think it's very important, and being ready for that is also very important. Of course, if somebody wants just to try how it is, it's fine. But if somebody wants to seriously thinking about that, definitely they should be ready for this type of sacrifice. So this is one. I think another one is agility. And agility, I think, on many, many levels, right? So we can think about learning agility. We can think about thinking agility. So again, in terms of learning, there is a lot of things that we have to do by ourselves. So we should be open to learn and eager to learn, right? Even things that we don't like doing. For me, it's sales, right? So, unfortunately, I still don't like doing that. There is no change there. But many other things, actually, I had to learn, right? So this learning agility is one, but also thinking agility. As an entrepreneur, very often we have to shift between bigger picture and the smaller details, right? And actually keep both of these things in mind at the same time. So this ability to shift quickly between two different mindsets, I would say it's a must, right, for being entrepreneur. So finally, I think, and this is perhaps is the most important, is resilience. So as an entrepreneur, you will hear very many no's, right? From potential customers, from potential investors. Even sometimes when somebody doesn't want to work with you, you can take this as a no, right? So it's important to, I know it's easy to say, but however I went through this, right? Not to take it personally, right? And be able to bounce back every time, right? Resilience is something that will either make us or break us if we are entrepreneurs, right? So without this quality, it's definitely not possible to succeed.
Yes, I agree with you on that factor of resilience. Indeed, resilience is a factor for success. And this is something that we also share with our students at JCU Singapore when they come down to the Student Career Center seeking career advisory or just our day-to-day engagements with them. I think resilience, and that the determination is what really brings you to that point of success in achieving their goals. So yes, some good, sharing over there about the qualities required for future in entrepreneurship. All right, so we've come down to the last question. Natasha, if you were able to travel back in time, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Well, invest in Bitcoin. Okay, I think I've been lifelong learner forever, as long as I remember. But I think what I didn't learn and I should have learned earlier, it's a bit more of technology. And I think even currently, for current generation, technology is very, very important. As much as sustainability, technology is an aspect that will affect almost every role, right? So being savvy, technologically savvy, it's very important, right? And unfortunately, at that time, I actually had an opportunity to study a bit more of IT, but I chose business, which also gave me a lot of information and a lot of benefits. However, I think if you study more than one thing, it's good to study topics which are not related to each other. Absolutely, right? That gives actually quite a lot of fuel for manure later.
All right. Thank you so much. It's been such a wonderful and insightful sharing. Your story is such an inspiration to all the listeners out there, and especially those who are looking to venture into the entrepreneur space. Thank you so much, Natasha, for being here.
Thank you for having me, Michelle. It was my pleasure.
And to those of you who are looking to reach out and connect with Natasha Syed, you can find her on LinkedIn at Natasha Syed. Thank you all. Have a good day.